Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also joining us online via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Have another great author joining us for this next segment as we are winding down summer. If you're still looking for books to be able to read as we're going throughout the rest of this year, you definitely want to add the newest book from best-selling author Rosanne Parry to our broadcast today. The book is called A Horse Named Sky. We're going to talk to Rosanne not only about what it's been like for her to write stories that are not only entertaining but also educational as well. A Horse Named Sky is another example of that. We're going to also let you guys know how to stay connected with her as well. Rosanne, thank you again for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is a really fun book, Rosanne, but as I mentioned in my intro, it is a book that does teach us a lot, I think, about our impact on the world, but also the world of possibilities in front of us. What has that been like for you, Rosanne, in your career, to be able to write stories that are engaging, but also informative for the reader, too?
Well, I started out as a teacher, and reading was my specialty, and so I'm always, when I'm writing a book, I want to write a book that delights a child. But I know what a teacher needs a book to do in order for them to read it out loud. And so I also have that teacher audience in mind, too. And I'm asking myself, if something that I know is going to be in the curriculum is naturally coming up, how can I make sure that I have clarity there? And I want to write a book that inspires kids to ask the good questions, right, about, about clean air and clean water. And there's lots of great questions to ask about westward expansion in this country. And this book takes place in 1860 during the time of the Pony Express, and when lots of really important historical things were happening. And so I'm always looking for a book that will inspire those good questions and conversations in families and in classrooms too.
I think that is definitely what you've been able to do, Rosanne, with your career. And I think about the first book that I got a chance to read of yours now, of course, of Wolf, called Wonder. And I think about the idea of family comes through in these books, of friendship, but also reminding us when it comes to animals that they are beings as well and deserve respect, deserve protection. Did you know going into the books that you write, especially because they feature animals so prominently, Rosanne, that you wanted to be able to make sure those messages were clear? That, a lot of times I think we don't think about animals as being, having feelings like we do and being able to, to go through things. Is that part of what you hope kind of happens from book to book?
Yeah, I always want to make sure that the behavior of the animals is really grounded in the actual physical behavior that these animals do in the wild, right? I don't want to invent magical actions. But then I really want to think about what do those things mean to those animals, right? Animals have rich emotional and mental lives and social lives, and so I really want to dig in on those things. And I think animals are vulnerable in many of the ways that children are vulnerable, which makes them very relatable, right? A lost animal is really lost, right? And they fear being separated from their family, just like kids do, right? That sort of, I'm on my own now. Now what am I going to do? That's a very real anxiety that kids have, and so addressing that in an animal shape gives them some room to explore their feelings there, which I think is important.
Yeah. Getting back to the newest book, Rosanne, A Horse Named Sky, we're able to see different situations that Sky is in, but one of those I thought was really interesting as I was reading it, and that is about the connection with other animals. There's that great scene that you wrote where you have the blackbird, almost giving a warning that Sky is able to recognize and to be aware of what's happening around him. What was that like for you to show that even with a book like this, where the main character, of course, is a horse, it really shows the connection to the rest of the world around them as well.
Yeah, horses, I gained a lot of respect for their senses. Their hearing is so keen, and there's nothing that they won't listen to, right? When I'm watching wild horses in the wild, I'm partly looking to where their ears are pointing, because if everybody's ear is pointing a certain way, I'm going to be like, I wonder what are they listening to over there? Should I know that there's a bear over there they're listening to? And, they can smell things I can't smell. And so that awareness was very telling to me, right? They are just paying attention to so many things. Yeah, it's been really cool to learn about and understand.
So tell us about the inspiration for A Horse Named Sky, Rosanne. What was it that sparked this particular book now in your career?
Well, when I was in the third grade, my entire ambition was to become a Pony Express rider because, outdoors all day on a horse, going fast, excellent pay, very, I want that job now. So that was my entire ambition when I was, 9 years old. And so when I came back to thinking about writing about wild horses, I looked back at the Pony Express a little bit. And what I learned was that they did fine taking racehorses for those flat eastern parts of the Pony Express run, but once they got to the mountains, those racehorses just couldn't cut it. They just weren't cut out for that terrain at all. But Mustangs, on the other hand, are very cold hardy. They don't mind the altitude at all. They're really fast. Their hooves are very strong. They don't need to be shod. And so they were a natural. So they took Mustangs off the range to run across the Rockies and over the Sierras. So once I learned that, I was like, oh, well, that's a natural, a horse that's born wild and then is captured by the Pony Express. And then how does he get free and find his family again? So that was a great sort of initial framework to work from.
Yeah. We both mentioned something in the beginning, Rosanne, that I think is a great place for us to kind of circle back around, and that is your audience, because even though this book is written with children in mind, us adults, we enjoy your stories as well. What is that feeling for you to have this expanded audience of all ages that enjoy and appreciate your books?
Well, I do love it, and I think that reading out loud time, that's sacred time to me. It's only a short part of a child's life, but it's a really great point of connection for kids and their parents and kids and their grandparents. And so my first job is to delight the child reader, right? But if I can also craft a book that parents like to read, that whole experience is going to be better for everybody. So I want to make sure I'm doing the depth of research and writing things that give places for kids to ask questions and have further discussions. I mean, to me, the conversation that happens in a family or in a classroom because of the book, to me, that conversation is more important even than what's on the page. Right. So.
Well, I'll tell you, it's so great being able to read your stories and feel a part of them because of the way you write them, Rosanne, as we're able to do with A Horse Named Sky. But I also love the fact there's some great messages there for individuals of all ages to grab onto. Again, everyone, best-selling author Rosanne Parry has been our guest. Her new book is A Horse Named Sky. It's available through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite local bookstore. If they don't have it, I know they'd be more than happy to order it for you. And Rosanne, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
I have a website. It's just rosanneparry.com, RosanneParry.com. So that's where I try and put news of new books that are coming out and interesting things to see. And I'm also on Instagram under my name.
Yeah. Rosanne, thank you again for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to our next chat together.
Awesome. Thanks, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.